moving ahead, I would like to call our esteemed guest for this conclave, Shri Ajay Misra, IAS, retired formal Special Chief Secretary, Telangana, for Education and Energy. Sir had managed transport, rural water supply, IT, infrastructure, and investment in higher education department in Andhra Pradesh as Commissioner, Secretary, Principal, and Secretary to the government. During this period, Telangana emerged as the leading state in the country for initiatives in the solar energy sector. Sir has also been active in various non-government organizations in Hyderabad, working for arts and culture promotions and also cancer awareness. I would like to call upon Sir for an address. Thank you. A huge round of applause for the address, please.
Thank you for the introduction. I don't know how far it covers my activities, but then I'll start with thanking Sudhir Gautam for giving me an opportunity, because it's always educative and informative for me when I come to these sessions, especially if you hear, say, a speech or of like Professor Nageshwarji, whom I have not met once, but it was a delight to hear him. Shri Kanji, very informative discourse for me. We have Vedant, say, if I can say, brilliant minds trying to work for the society. And also, like Professor Nageshwar said, different roles. Education, many a times, is thrust on the kids by the parents. My experience of my kids with me. Speaking at the last is a difficult exercise, because most of it has already been spoken, what you come prepared with to speak to the audience. It's like a T20 match where the last 2 overs are left and you have to do something new. I'll introduce myself as one of the things how the career options change or the activities change. See, I'll more call it activity. 40 years back, I was pursuing academics in nuclear disarmament, the political side of it. Chance, success, I come to administration. I am there for 36 years. Then I start writing poetry. 3 years back, about 40 published in newspapers in last 2 years. A political science student, I gained some expertise in the government in the renewable energy space. I start advising people, but then today I'm working for charity organization, social service by name Red Cross, associated with, as mentioned, cancer awareness sector, also art promotion. When I see the kids today, don't mind my language, kids, I mean from 15 to 30 years, because my kids are 30 years now. I get corrected many a times. Daddy, you have just repeated the same thing 5 minutes back. Why are you telling us again? My daughter tells me. So I make it a point not to repeat what my predecessors have told in their speeches. The present generation, I feel envy many a times, because the kind of information, the kind of knowledge, the kind of exposure which you have at 20 years, I didn't have, very frankly, though I was one of the successful kid at my point of time, but the kind of exposure which you have. On the other side, I also feel concerned. There is so much of information. There is so much of uncertainty. Where do you take yourself? There are 2 traditional options, as they say. One is for the bread, one is for the butter. The parents generally force the kids to go for the bread option, where you can make a living decently in the traditional mold. But most of the kids today, because of the information, because of the knowledge, because of the passion in many of them, interest in many of them, want to go for the better option. But there is more uncertainty. There are very few openings at the correct stage. How do you have integration or a working relationship within yourself of these two? That's a challenge for many of you. More so, you have to keep abreast of what changes are coming in your chosen field and are likely to come in the coming years, and how you adapt to it and how you master it in a short time. It's not easy, because first 20 years you have not been trained for that. It's not your fault. Few institutions today are paying attention to different levels, but 99% of the institutions are not paying attention. So, but then, the period of uncertainty can be very enlightening, can be very productive if the opportunity is made use of. This is repetition of what has been said earlier. But then sometimes repetition is required. New fields have been mentioned by the speakers. I will tell about the field in which I take interest. Renewable energy. Next 10 years, as per studies, more than 1 lakh jobs are likely to come in renewable energy sector. Today in the country, there is no graduation or no post-graduation exclusive program for renewable energy recognized by the government. Many students are doing research, PhDs are being done. But if you talk of post-graduation, rare, and it will only grow. In renewable energy sector, I am not trying to confine to only solar or wind, which are two known areas. But then hydrogen, green hydrogen is coming, the potential for it. These are things which interest, but then how do you combine your bread and butter? Like mentioned by our dean from RV University, we find bright technology students after 10 years doing organic farming, a few of them here, and making a living out of it. See, that is important, making a living out of it. So your interest, your passion has to be sustained during the difficult years. See, that is important. The kid would have had interest in organic farming or farming, but he was forced to go for engineering. He spent few years after that. When he has grown above the dictates of his parents, he finds his passion and happiness. One other thing which has been not paid that much attention is about the skills we talk, about acquisition of knowledge we talk. That is required up to a point. But what about values? Values doesn't mean only honesty, commitment, integrity. That has taken a back seat. As I say, today degrees are not for knowledge, not for information, but for getting some marks. That degree will only help up to a point. Today the best jobs are, some of them go to people without degree. All of you are aware of it. I'll not tell the details, repeat the details. Have you got some skills while you are pursuing your degree? That is important. The liberal arts. I advise youngsters, if you are able to write in any language 1 page with your hand without autocorrect, that is a skill today, which was a norm, a common thing 4 decades back. Today, content writing is a career. We never heard of it 4 decades back. And it's not new thing, see, by way of technology. The fields mentioned by Shrikant ji are new. But content writing is what we all did when we appeared for different exams 4 decades back. So fields are being reinvented also in a different format. So I would like to reiterate values for life. How do you face tough times? How do you not succumb when you succeed to different temptations? These are two specific things which I'd like to mention to the youngsters. One of the points mentioned was, can we live without electricity? The answer was absolutely correct, but I will advise the youngsters, try to live without electricity at least for a short time. You can think more, think differently, analyze things when you are not constantly interrupted by technology. Information overflow, try to have some discipline in you so that you don't be wasting your time in the information overflow sector. Last few years, I am lucky. I go to places where internet and phones don't work. I stay there for 3-4 days. Going alone will require much discipline of meditation, introspection, etc. I don't do that. I go with a few friends that stay place in remote area, not remote area very far off in the Himalayas, maybe 600-700 kilometers from here. The only communication with outside world is a landline phone, which is used only when we have to go out to bring a taxi or a vehicle. But then with your friends with whom you can spend 2-3 days, it's a form of, like youngsters say, chill out. Chill out not in the way we are accustomed, the way it is being forced on the youngsters in the pubs and restaurants, but where you energize your mind, your thinking process for future. Please try it. It is difficult because at your age, I also did not take holidays. I'm being very honest. So youngsters today feel a holiday is loss at work. The institutions, the employees also have to change. What is called work-life balance. Some companies are doing it to some extent, different to different levels. I will summarize in the difference, difficulty between bread and butter, how you keep your butter passion alive in the struggle during the first few years. That is important. How you continue to nurture and stand by values in your workplace and society, that will matter. And finally, some amount of chilling, introspection, different life for very short periods in the days to come will definitely enhance your overall growth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for helping us understand how important it is to be abreast of the dynamic world and how uncertainty leads to innovation. Thank you so much for such wonderful address.